interesting people, thought-provoking conversations, nutrition for your brain. Journey through the minds of the world's top performers and discover what it really takes to achieve your highest version. This is the Danny Miranda Podcast.
Bro, how are you doing?
Doing amazing, man. How are you?
Absolutely wonderful. I just get such a kick and thrill out of doing these with you. And I was really listening to you interviewing me, then I listened to just the 154 we had, and I was like, holy smokes, it's incredible because I don't remember any of that. I don't know how I came to those insights. I'm sure you know how you came to those insights, but it's just like, I was like, who is this person speaking? It's not me. Does that ever, do you know what I'm talking about?
Bro, I feel the exact same way. I feel like after we're done our conversation, like, I know it was a fire conversation because I feel so fucking high, but I have no idea really like what we just talked about or what I said or like what you said. I usually remember what you said, but I have like no recollection of like what I said.
It's a good thing, I guess. It's just like a flow state.
Yeah, and that's why like I love it too, because even like when you look at certain podcasts like Rogan, like I used to look at it and I'm like, how could this guy just talk for like 4 fucking hours? But like when you're just vibing and like it's like the vibe of the moment is speaking through you and it doesn't even feel like you're doing anything. And personally, like that's what gives me the greatest high in life.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And on the topic of vibing, it's like the Tej Dosa Vibe coming very soon. It's probably out by the time this is out. How does that feel? Like you're launching your own podcast?
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't even feel like a podcast. Like it just feels like an outlet for audio. And yeah, it just feels like quite normal, just like what I've been doing with the writing. I kind of want to transition more towards audio and just like free flowing through the voice as opposed to just the written word. And I'm stoked and also really honored to have you as the first guest, bro.
I'm hyped to be the first guest. I think it's incredible, and I'm so excited to see people's reactions to it and just to put it out into the world. So like it'll become its own thing once it's out in the world, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like so fire. Like lately I've really been thinking about this. Like even before I had Twitter, like I used to carry these little moleskin notebooks around, and I always felt like when you get an idea or when you have like a unique thought, it's your job to just like put it out there. It could be just writing it down, it could be posting on Twitter, it could be just expressing it. And it feels like the more I do that, whether it was through the moleskin notebook or whether it was through tweets or now like through the podcast, it feels like more ideas come your way. You get blessed with more and more and more, and you just become this vessel to just unleash the beast within. And it's like the most epic thing. And that's why I feel like even with our other podcasts, it's been an expression of that. And that's why it feels so good, because we're just like so fucking lit up in the moment, and we just get blessed with insights, and boom, we just let them out and we just get blessed with more insights. And it's just so much fucking fun, bro.
Yo, could you turn down the gain, I think, on your end?
1 sec.
Not to ruin our killer flow, but...
There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Let me know if it's a little bit too much.
No, it should be good. Yeah, and what do you think happens there? It's like the more this happens for money too, it feels like it happens for love, like, and it happens for ideas too, you're saying. It's like the more you give, the more you get in return. What do you think is actually happening there at the deepest level?
So I actually had like a really interesting experience actually yesterday where it really like put just in time for the fucking podcast. So it was actually a really profound experience, like life-changing in many ways. And essentially what happened was I was doing an inquiry session with one of my teachers, and it's like a weekly thing. I think I mentioned it on the podcast or in the other one we did. And anyways, I've been doing this for a while now. And yesterday in particular, I was really inquiring into certain emotions that I was feeling in my heart, like a lot of pain, a lot of grief, a lot of sadness, a lot of like feelings of betrayal, like feelings of self-abandonment that, you know, we all have like deep within. And what's crazy is like up till yesterday, I didn't even realize like these feelings were there because, you know, like normally it's all fucking sunshine and rainbows. But anyways, as I was like inquiring into this and I was working through the emotions of the heart, it felt like my entire heart was like a house with multiple floors. And normally I spend all my time on the surface level at the top floor. But as I started working through the emotions that have been there since I was a child, essentially, I started to uncover the deeper floors of the heart. And then through that experience, I like started experiencing the deepest floor of the heart, which was like the ground of being, or the ground of presence, in which everything emanates from. And it was so touching, bro. It was so profound. It felt like me as an individual and everything that I see was just a manifestation of that ground. And it was all coming from there. And that ground is what we truly are. And from that ground, as I was experiencing it, it felt like I was coming back home to myself. And through that ground, like all this joy and love and compassion and strength and power was arising as I was experiencing it. So to answer your question, what I think from my experience happens is in those moments when you're giving or you're just vibing, what's essentially happening is you're opening yourself up to those deeper dimensions within you, and something is coming through you. And since everything comes from that ground of being, the more you give to somebody else, the more you get, because the somebody else is just you in another form.
Damn. What do you think allows you to experience yourself like that? Like, what allows you to go to the ground floor?
So, like, I could just speak about, like, my experience. Like, I'm not a expert on, like, how to fucking reach the ground floor. I just fucking experienced it yesterday. But, like, what has been really working for me was, like, so, like, in life, right? Like, I'll just tell you my story. In life, I went through, like, we all go through these experiences in, like, childhood, right? That cut us off from the ground of being, because certain experiences when we're a kid are too painful for us to really digest. And as a result, these experiences that remain undigested form the personality that is us, and then they create the subjective filter, the subjective lens that we experience life through. And as a result of that, we take what we're seeing reality to actually be reality. But it's actually not reality. It's just our subjective filter as a result of all our past experiences. So what I've been doing is really digesting those old experiences that are still within my inner world or within my consciousness, that are shaping my view of the world, that are forming the lens in which I interact and live my life through. And by cleaning those experiences, by re-experiencing those emotions and digesting those past experiences, I realized that the reason I'm disconnected from the ground of being is because at some point I had those experiences, I left my body, I retreated more to the mind, I started forming concepts of the world and living in a dead world full of words as opposed to the real thing. So now it's a journey of going in the opposite direction and undoing all that was done to disconnect us, to reconnect us. It's just going in the opposite way. So like re-experiencing those old emotions, clearing them out. And as a result, you naturally start feeling the ground of being, because it's not something you create with the mind. It's already here.
That's wild. And it makes me think about, now you have been to the ground of being and like feel what that feels like. How do you then look at the rest of the world or the people around you and say, like, with compassion or empathy, like, damn, like so many people are operating out of fear, out of their mind, and haven't been to that place. So like, how do you take that and try to give it to others, or like help others along that journey? Or like, what do you, when you have an experience like that, how do you look at the rest of the world or the people around you?
So like what's really interesting is like before I podcast today, like I went for my first walk post grounded being experience. My fucking first walk post grounded being experience. And it's insane. Like I was on this walk like just like an hour ago, and the walk felt so different, bro. And the reason it felt so different was because everybody I was seeing, like there was this kid walking with his dad, right? I was looking at that, and then there was like this big water fountain just like displaying such beautiful water just flowing out of it. And then there was like sunlight coming out of the clouds, and then there was like cars and like homeless people yelling, and like all this crazy stuff was happening. I love how homeless people are in fucking every episode. Yes. But anyways, like as I was on that walk, I was like, holy shit. It felt like in the moment that the entire grounded being was manifesting this show. And everybody was connected to the grounded being because all was coming from there, even if they don't consciously realize it, right? So it's not like we're disconnected. We are connected, but we're just having the experience mentally of being disconnected. And because we're powerful, we can just reinforce that disconnection and live a false life or a true life. But like in that moment, as I was going on a walk, it felt like there was like a movie, like a projector. It was projecting one movie and all forms were coming from it. And it felt like the entire world was just the show that was being put on. And it felt so touching, and it felt so connected to everybody, from the child and his father to the water, to the sun, to obviously my homie, the homeless man, and everything in between.
Bro, it's funny because every time I think you've said it before, and you might have said it in our first episode on your podcast. It was like, I went on this walk and everything seemed different. It seems like that is a common theme for your experiences. Why do you think that every walk to you, or maybe we're just catching it at specific times, but why do you think these walks have always seemed different and like you're seeing the world with fresh eyes?
That's such a good question. I actually never realized that, but like even like going back to like late high school and like early university days, like something has always been in the walks. Like I could trace so many moments to like a walk. And I don't know, bro. I feel like when I'm on a walk, I cease to be Tej and I just become the moment. I just become the vibe of the walk. And it feels like the vibe is walking through me. And it's not like I'm walking like an individual. I mean, I'm still an individual, but I'm walking like the vibe is like walking through, using my legs to walk. And as a result, it feels like I'm so much more open. I'm in like so much more awe. And usually when I walk like in like a naturey vibe, right? Sometimes I walk through the city. I like that too. But like most of the time I'm like walking by the water, or I'm like walking by like a forest or something. And like that just puts me in like a different type of zone. And like I can trace so many, like practically speaking, like business ideas to that, marketing ideas to that, but more so just redoing the programming and uncovering what is actually real. And it feels like I'm seeing with the eyes of a baby, bro, like innocent eyes. And it feels like, holy shit, this world is so fucking beautiful. The people are so fucking beautiful and they don't even fucking know it.
It's incredible. Why do you think like you have an idea like that, or have that level of awareness where, you know, 99% of people go on walks and don't see anything new, don't see things for the first time? Why do you think you see things brand new with a level of innocence? Why do you think you see things differently when you're just going on a walk?
So like, I don't always see things differently. Sometimes it's like when sometimes I'm not seeing it with innocent eyes, and I've like seen the difference. Like, what is the difference, right? So there's like two things. One thing I realized like recently is like, man cannot get bored of life, because life is always changing and always evolving. The only thing man can get bored of is being the same character he's going through life through, because then that character starts like forming his view of life and starts coloring it for him, and then it's just the past repeated on the now, and it feels like life has lost its flavor. But really, life has not lost its flavor, because life is constantly new and constantly refreshing itself like a fucking internet browser. It's us, the character, that becomes stale and becomes old. So in the moments when I'm perceiving it through the eyes of a baby or like a innocent child, it feels like I'm taking a break from being the character. And then the second thing is, this thing honestly blew my fucking mind. It's like, the first time you see something for the first time, you feel such, and you don't know what it is, right? Like, try to think back to the first time you ever saw something, and you were a child and you saw it, and it just filled you with like such awe and such wonder and such magic. You're like, what the fuck is that? And it just like filled you up, right? And then your parent or your mom or your dad or your grandma or whoever was like, oh, that's X. And then they gave it a name, right? Yeah. Then the next time you saw that thing, you still felt that awe, you still felt that wonder, but it was a little bit less because you're like, oh, that's X. And then over time, what happened is I personally stopped seeing the actual world and I started experiencing the word. So instead of seeing a tree, I wouldn't even look at the tree, bro. I would be like, oh, that's a tree. And I would relate to it in my mind and I would just see the word. And I wouldn't just do this with trees. I would do it with people, bro. Like, Danny right now, you're fresh, you're new, you're completely evolving, you're like going through the process and you're changing and you're transforming. But if I'm interacting with the idea of Danny in my head and I give you that label, then I'm not even fucking talking to you anymore, bro. I'm talking to the idea in my fucking brain. And that's what I had done for everything. From Danny to my mom to my fucking girlfriend to the fucking water to the fucking tree to my fucking work. I'm like, my fucking work is so fucking boring because I was interacting with the idea of my work as opposed to the freshness, the change that was constantly happening. So like the second tip is like, when I'm on those walks and I have those moments, in those moments, I try to make a conscious effort to override my brain because the brain is so powerful. You just look at something and it instantly just fucking labels it. It's like, oh, that's Danny. Oh, this is a podcast. Oh, this is a computer. And I'm like, okay, that's Danny. This is a podcast. This is a computer. Fair and well. But I want to take a break from the labels for a moment. I want to experience what this is if I don't filter it through that label. So like in this conversation right now, it's not like I'm talking to the idea of Danny. I want to talk to the fresh presence that is Danny right now. And it's like, I don't even know who that is. And that's what gives me the mystery, the awe, the wonder again, when I don't know, because I don't know. You changed. Like from yesterday, from the last moment, from the time we started this podcast, something has changed. And it continues to change. But if I turn you into an idea in my brain, then I kill you and I kill my world.
I was just talking to my grandma about this yesterday. It's so weird. It was probably an idea that came from you originally, like I read from you or Eckhart Tolle. But just the idea of when we say tree and then, or say flower, we lose something. There's something that gets lost in that process. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like we stop looking because we already, after we have the label, we then like move on to the next thing.
Exactly.
And it's like, what if we stripped it? Right? Like when you said, you know, imagine you were and you saw something for the first time. My mind went to the idea of a stadium, right? Like 40,000 people just in a crowd in a football stadium. Like how crazy is that? That a group of people built this and that other people go to watch other people. Like that is the most crazy thing that we kind of just take for granted and say like, oh, you know, there's basketball games going on, football, hockey, you know, up in Canada. And it's like, we just take for granted. Yeah. Like we take for granted that the people built this thing and are like that. It's just a crazy concept of like a stadium. That's what popped into my mind. But yeah, like what things can we break down with awe that are just so mundane, like that quote unquote are mundane?
Bro, like when you said I love how we just talk about like whatever. This is like the best shit in the world. I love how when you said stadium, like I was looking outside like my window right now and I see like two bridges. And like that's the initial thing that jumped out. Like a bridge, bro. There's fucking cars driving on this bridge. And like I've driven on this until now, like I didn't realize this either, right? Because the bridge has been dead to me. But like I've driven on this bridge like daily or like weekly or like whatever, and I just like take it for granted that I'm just on a fucking bridge. Like, it's fucking insane, like what it actually is.
And that people were building that and built it so for this moment you could go from A to B.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow. Holy man.
Yeah. And like on a deeper level, just nature in general has been set up for us. And it hasn't been set up for us, but it's just there. And the rain and the sun and the trees and the flowers and like all this existed for so long for us to get to this moment right here. And it's like we didn't do anything to witness the sun, to witness nature, to witness forest, to witness beach. Like those things are just have been created. And now we're here and we get to witness it. But we didn't do anything to build it. I don't know, man.
You know what I find so powerful about that is like the nature was always there, right? But it took a human being to appreciate his beauty. So like the human being is a vessel for appreciating beauty. Because like without the human being, nature couldn't experience itself to be beautiful because there was only nature. And then a human being arose to look at the creation. And it's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen Welcome to Earth by Will Smith? It's a Disney Channel or Disney Plus show.
No, I haven't.
It's amazing. The scenes, the views, like, you know, sometimes I say to myself, I've experienced so little of Earth that when you watch shows like that, you really see everything or a lot of the ice and the beaches, and it just makes you think like, wow, this thing that we're on is pretty damn crazy. Like, what's the craziest place you've been?
Honestly, I haven't even fucking been anywhere, bro. Like, I've been like the normal places, you know, like all over the States, like all over Canada, Australia, India, a little bit in like Hong Kong, London, just like those places. And like there's beauty everywhere. Like also like one thing that I find really fascinating is like, again, this happened on a walk, right? I was like, it's like going on a walk and like when you're like, even your own city, right? It feels like like I've gone on walks like hundreds of times and I'm like, this is Vancouver. But again, Vancouver is just an idea. It's just a label I'm giving to this place. And same as London, China, whatever. It's just like labels, right? But it's like you could go into like a park that is right next door to your house and have the greatest travel, have the greatest adventure. When you let go of that idea. Because we think like, oh, now, even like this is so crazy, bro. It's like at our home city, we play the role of the character. Then when we go on vacation, we become so wild and so free and so curious in accordance with like who we truly are. Like we naturally vibe and we're so happy and joyful. And then we don't realize that it's not the vacation that's giving that to us. The vacation is just a permission slip, right? You can just experience that in a park next door to your house when you let go of the notion that, oh, now I'm on vacation, now I'm at home. It's like even myself, and I have certain friends that like when we're here in the city, they're like playing the role of the character and like they hate the character. They're so miserable, right? And then we go on vacation. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy is fucking amazing. He's like so alive and upbeat, like fucking jumping off walls. He's like, let's fucking do X, let's do Y. And then I noticed that as we board the plane back home and the city becomes nearer and nearer and near, the character slowly starts returning and returning and returning. And by the time we land, the person that I knew on vacation is gone. But why did he go?
It's crazy because when you say that, it makes me think about the ability to create our own character in any moment, and that also none of this shit matters in like the best way possible. Like you could be anybody you want in any moment. Like it's a beautiful thing. And I'm it's what are the words? When you realize you can be anything, when you realize you can do anything even where you are in this current moment, it's a very freeing realization. And it also makes me think about the traveling and talking to strangers we were talking about in the last time we recorded, about how you can travel to a new place just by talking to people and learning from their experiences. Yeah, I mean, it's traveling is one of those things, and changing your identity is one of those things that can happen for you instead of against you.
It's so wild, like on how you can be like a new character, or like just like undo all characters, like how that option is always available. And like even for myself, it's like I feel like the thing, like just personally speaking, that sometimes gets in the way is like these judgments, right? It feels like the judgments that we have are like the things that really keep us contained within the same old playing field, the same old box, right? And I find it so interesting because like even when I use the vacation analogy, right, with certain friends and even with myself, and I feel like there's like an implicit judgment that's like when you're on vacation you can be more free, so people feel like they can be like that, right? Whereas when you're home, it's like your mom expects you to be a certain way, your dad expects you to be a certain way, your boss expects you to be a certain, fuck bosses, but like, you know, it's like it's like they expect you to be a certain way, and like society in your home city has like an implicit judgment of how you should be, and then you just like mold yourself to be like that. But there's certain times when the judgment is positive, and that's why I also think like people like drugs and alcohol, because when you're drinking, that judgments, those fears actually are decreasing, and that allows you to be more free, right? But the real culprit isn't like you having to drink or anything. It's like you having to let go of the judgments of yourself, of others, and that's when you can just be anybody you want to be, because then you're fucking free.
Yeah. I feel like also we're so complicit in so many agreements that we don't even realize we are complicit in. And our society has set up rules and expectations that that we don't even know we're following. It's like we have 3 meals a day. You can have steak for dinner. You can have chicken for dinner. But if you have steak or chicken for breakfast, that's weird, right? Like we don't think about these things often unless you really stop and consider, oh, wow, these are all agreements that I'm following that I don't even realize I'm following. For example, what would happen in the case of, you know, we deciding as a global community it is wrong to kill animals, right? Like what we're doing to animals is equal to genocide. And I'm not saying that's true. I don't know enough about that topic in general. And it very well may be true in 1,000 years. But that would change our agreements to the foods we eat. And so it's funny to me that we just have these ideas of what is acceptable and what is not. And that is why I think that the people who are the most free spend time with themselves, because they have less of the judgments from other people that they're agreeing to, that they have looked at all the judgments of themselves. And it's why like spending time with myself has been the key to unlock a lot. And I know same for you too.
Bro, like what you said about like being implicit and like being in on it is like so powerful, because like that's been like such a huge realization for me, how like this is why I'm always tweeting about like fucking programming and like writing about programming, because to me it's like the most important thing to understand, because so many things like you're saying that we believe so strongly in do not serve us, and we're the ones that are really upholding it. Like we're so convinced this is our idea, this is our way of being, but it's been fucking programmed into us and we're going along with it. And like it really makes me fucking sad. And like this going on that as well. I was talking about this a little while ago. It's like, yo, if I come into your house and I kick down your door and I start verbally abusing you and I start yelling at you and I start like saying all types of shit to you, you will be like, yo, get the fuck out of my house, or you will just like fucking sock me in the face, right? But then you'll let that voice inside your head, that is the voice of Big Brother, talk to you however it wants to, and you go along with it blindly.
Yeah. It's crazy, and just like people's negativity towards themselves. I was talking to someone about this recently, where it was like they had no problem saying rude things to somebody else. And the reason why is because they themselves were saying the rude things to themselves. And it's like, where did that come from? Where does it come from when we are talking badly to ourselves? You say big brother, but like let's dive into that more. Like, where do the negative voices in our heads come from?
So like I love this because it's like the format is like we're just exploring, and that's like my favorite types of conversations. So it's like when I speak, like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just speaking whatever is coming out, right? So like, you know, I like to say that because sometimes it may come across like I got all the answers, but like I said in the previous episode, I ain't Kanye. I ain't sway. I ain't got the answers. But from like I just like to speak also from my experience because then it feels real, right? So like the negative voice, where it came from, the negative voice inside my head, this is what happened to me. And I think, in my opinion, I think it happens to all of us. But like this is what happened, right? So I'm born into this world, right? And I'm born with a unique vibe. Okay, there's some type of uniqueness there. I'm not a blank slate. There's a unique vibe there. And then I don't know anything. I don't know what fear is. I don't know what negativity is. I don't even know who the fuck I am. I don't even know who the fuck my mom is. I don't even know who the fuck my dad is. These are all things that develop later. So I'm born, and as I'm going through life, I start learning things, right? As a kid, I'm developing, I'm growing, I'm expressing myself. And as I'm expressing myself in my early environment with my parents or caregivers or whoever is around at the time, I'm doing certain things that are natural to me and feel like it's just a natural, spontaneous expression. And as I'm expressing myself, my parents have already been programmed because they're a byproduct of society, right? So Big Brother is now in the home. Big Brother is now outside. Big Brother is speaking through my mom and speaking through my dad, which isn't bad. It's okay. It just is what it is. But as a child, I'm expressing myself. I'm free. And then let's say I do something, right? It could be whatever. And my dad comes along and he's like, hey, don't do that. Boys don't do that, right? He says that to me. Right? Let's just say, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, right? But let's just say he says that to me, right? And then I would be like, oh shit, like what the fuck, boys don't do that. And then I would take that judgment that came from outside, from my dad, and unconsciously it would enter me and it would become a part of my own code. It would become a part of my own programming without me realizing that this is happening. And then when I'm older and I'm like evolved as a human being, I'm a teenager or I'm like a adult and I'm on this podcast. And now let's say a moment comes on this podcast where I could be like, say I'm like feeling something in my heart and it feels very soft and mushy, right? I'm feeling like very vulnerable. And then I would have that judgment, that voice would be like, oh, don't share that with Danny. Don't share this on this podcast. Boys don't do that. Right? And it's like, I would think that voice is my own voice. Like I'm the one looking out for myself. But really this voice came from outside of me and I've took it on as myself. So first society programmed my parents, then my parents programmed me, and now I program myself on a daily basis.
I think that's incredibly true. But, you know, this is, I think, a point of perhaps disagreement between me and you. And let me know what you think of this. I don't happen to believe that there is a grand conspiracy. I don't think that there, and I don't know, you might agree with, I don't know what you think on this, so I'm curious what you think. But it's like, I think that this all happened without anybody realizing it. And there were advertisers maybe or government, but like what is Big Brother? Like I have a hard time believing that people can get other people to follow an agenda. Maybe it's just because I was raised with the internet and freedom of information running rampant, but like tell me where I'm wrong, tell me what I'm missing, and if you agree or disagree.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think they're... When I say Big Brother, I don't mean like there's like some like entity that's like in some boardroom and they're like, how can we get the people? How can we enslave the people? Let's introduce this code into the software. Like, I don't really mean that. Like, what I mean by Big Brother is like, it's a part of our natural human development. We had to go through certain stages, but now we're fucking stuck at that stage, and all of society is reinforcing this stage, and they're all implicit on it without realizing it. And that's what I call Big Brother. So Big Brother is me, Big Brother is you, Big Brother is my sister, everybody I love, but we're all fucking Big Brother. It's like we think Big Brother is this entity outside of ourselves, but Big Brother is really the voice inside of ourselves that is trying to control us. And it's not bad, it's not good. Big Brother, like how I explain it, was actually useful for us when we were a child because we needed it to survive, to develop, to grow. You know, as a kid, I did so many stupid things. Like I needed my dad, I needed my mom to be that voice of reason, to be like, yo, like fucking chill, like don't do that, right? And like I took on that voice too, but that was needed for survival at the time. So it was a part of my development, it was a part of my growth. But now I'm a fucking grown ass man. I don't need this voice. I know what's right and what's wrong. I know what I want to do. It becomes a problem when I want to express myself freely, when I want to live to my highest potential. And then that same voice from childhood is trying to control my behavior. So it's not like, in my opinion, it's not this grand conspiracy where we've been programmed and the people that programmed us are free. I just think that society as a whole is in on it, and we need to realize that, hey, it was useful at a certain point in our development, but now let's not be Big Brother to each other. Let's not be Big Brother to one another. Let's not be Big Brother to our sisters and brothers. Let's not be Big Brother to ourselves, and let's grow. And I think it's an opportunity for growth, for evolving humanity, so we can actually become more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. It makes me think of Ram Dass, who said, you know, you have to remember your Buddha nature and also your social security number. And it's a great quote. And from what I hear you say, it sounds like Big Brother is equivalent to your social security number. Like, yes, you can focus on that, and yes, you need to focus on that to grow to a certain point. But if all your life is your social security number, you're going to forget and miss out on a huge part of your own upbringing and growth as a human being. And by social security number, in this instance, I'm just saying the paying your taxes, going to the office, doing the things that everyone in society says are good. But you probably aren't getting rewarded on a grand scale for loving yourself fully, right? Like, what if we created a society where loving yourself was as cool as partying or just going to the office or going to college, right? Like, going to college is like, oh, that's a good thing. Like, you got in college. That's great. Like, let's applaud that. What if we could applaud just loving yourself and going inward and meditating as much as that? Like, we live in a completely different society. And how could we make that happen?
So, like, two things on that. The first thing, the Ram Dass quote is so fucking powerful, bro. It feels like, to me, the true human, like the highest potential for a human being is to be the Buddha nature with the social security number. Yes. So it's like embracing the real as you build your business, embracing the real as you're on a podcast, embracing the real as you're paying your taxes. I think that is like the quintessential of what it means to be a true human being. And the only reason I like talk so much about like resisting the programming and like going against it is because it feels like it's been one-sided too much. It's been too much on the social security number side, right? So it's like a little bit of a balance is needed here so you can actually actualize your full potential, because you're not just a social security number, but you do need a social security number to live and function in this world, right? When it becomes your identity, that's when it becomes a problem, because then it starts creating all these other fears that actually don't exist. But also the other thing is actually really interesting too, because right now it's like you can't fucking stunt with inner work, right? You're like, I fucking evolved. I started loving myself, and like now I can post it on fucking Instagram. Like, look at me, boys. I fucking love myself. Right? They're like, fuck that, man. That guy's on a fucking private jet. I don't want to love myself. I want that fucking private jet. Right? So it's like, I feel like the whole of society has to make a shift where they realize that life is an inner game, and the outer rewards come as a result of you getting right internally, and then everything is a byproduct of your internal garden. Because you have a clean internal garden, then something can actually grow, as opposed to if you have a garden with all types of different weeds. So I think it's like a turning inwards process, and from there you can actually embrace the totality of the outside. Because I'm not like one of these people that are like, yo, just turn inwards and like fuck business. Like, I like work all day. I'm not like one of these people like just do this and like don't party. I was just partying last week, right? It's like I want to do all these things. I want to live a full life as who I truly am. I don't want to play a role of myself. I don't want to play a character of myself. I want the real fucking thing, and I want to experience the real fucking life as the real fucking me.
And the only way to do that is to do the internal work too, because you could throw out the external things and have them, but if you don't do the internal work, you're not going to be that real self. You're not going to understand what the external really means.
Exactly. Like, I spent like so much of like from like 14 to like 20 or something, I was just like focused on the externals, right? I was like, I just need to get the money, man. I just want to get the money, man. Nobody talk to me. I just want to get the fucking money. And like, I would just get the money, and then I ended up with the money, and then I like moved into this amazing place with like amazing views, and I was like, oh fuck, like I feel exactly the same. And it's not like to say like money is bad. Bro, money is fucking epic. Money is so cool, right? But like, it was me that remained the same, just the externals changed. And then when I started to change internally, then it was so epic to be in a place with amazing views, because I could actually fucking see the views, bro. I was not just seeing my same old fucking past filtered on top of the views.
Do you know who Stephen Bartlett is, or Israel Adesanya?
Yeah, I know the UFC fighter. I don't know yeah.
So they did a podcast together, and Israel Adesanya is talking about how he wins the UFC title and he just gets depressed. And it feels like everybody who has external success, it feels like a lot of people who have external success deal with that same emotion, same feeling of reaching the top of the mountain and then feeling like, oh, wow, like I don't feel different. And then they go to therapy, or they go start meditating more, or start experiencing themselves more. Why do you think that happens, where we're chasing something and then we don't even feel whole when we get what we're chasing? Does it have to do with society programming us to want the wrong things? Or maybe not the wrong things, but programming us to want things that don't make us feel whole?
Yeah, so like the first thing, I think, like on a side point, I think the greatest thing a human being can do is achieve all their dreams as quickly as fucking possible, so you realize that it actually doesn't do it. And then you can begin your real life.
Everybody should get rich and famous so that they realize that rich and fame isn't the answer. Jim Carrey.
Yeah, but it actually, like the way I see it, is like you wanting to get rich and famous is actually a true expression. You're longing for something, right? So like the form that those riches and that fame, it doesn't have to be riches or fame. For some, it's just wanting a family, right? Like even that, we usually think like that's like what it is, but even that, some people just have a dream. Like some girls just have a dream where they just want to get married and like just be like chilling and just be like whatever, right? Which is cool. But like even that, it's like, what is that thing giving them? What do they think that thing is going to give them? So like, I'll just use my example again, right? Like with money, right? From like 14 to 20, just money. And like, what did I think the money was going to give me? Because the money is just digits in my bank account, right? It's just numbers there. I don't even like Canadian money is kind of low key cool, but it looks like fake as fuck, right? It looks like Monopoly money, but it's kind of cool, right? But it's just like fucking Monopoly money, right? It's like, what is this thing giving me? Or what do I think this thing is giving me? And with like money, I thought it was going to give me like fucking like power. It was going to give me confidence. It was going to give me value. Value was the real thing that I thought the money was going to give me. Oh, I have money. Now I'm a fucking important person. Now I'm a valuable person, right? That's what I thought it was going to give me. And then I'm like, okay, like why do I think this money, this inanimate object can give me value, can give me power, can give me prestige? And then I was like, oh shit, the reason I'm looking for the externals to give me that is because it's a deeper symbol that I'm currently lacking that value. I'm currently lacking that importance. I'm currently lacking that inner support or inner prestige. And then the only reason you can lack something is because at one point in your life you had it. So now you know that you don't have it anymore. And now it creates the feeling of lack. If you have never experienced real value, you would never experience the lack of value. You need to know the real thing to experience the lack. So I somehow, and we all happens to all of us, at a certain age, became disconnected from that ground of being, which is the source of value, which is the source of love, which is the source of power. And as a result, now I had this internal hole inside myself. And because society is set up in a way to look externally, and everybody else is looking externally, my mom's looking externally, my dad, my friends, everybody is looking externally, I too think the answer is external. And I'm like, oh shit, at one point in my life I had this value, I had this power, I know what it feels like unconsciously. It's not conscious, it's unconscious. And I'm like, I know that memory, I know that feeling, I feel so miserable, I need to fucking get this. And that's where my ambition came from. My ambition came from that lack. And then I got that money. Israel got the UFC championship. And then he's like, oh, fuck. It didn't work. It didn't fucking work. Like, I still feel like I don't have value. But now I got the millions. I still feel like I don't have value. But now I'm the fucking UFC champion. And this is where it gets really dark. Everybody else is fucking congratulating Israel. Yeah. And they're like, you're the fucking GOAT. You're the fucking man. But internally, he's like, what the fuck? Now he has to play a role. Now he has to act like he's the man. Now he has to put on the front. Now you have to take a photo of the Lamborghini and the private jet and flying first class so you can like convince everybody else that you are that, because deep down you actually don't feel that. But now you're putting up a charade to make it look that you actually are that. And now you get sucked into society even more because now you have everything. And now everybody is looking to you like, oh, this guy looks happy. He has the private jet. He has the money. So you're like, that must be the answer. But until you experience it yourself, you're like, it wasn't the answer. And that's when you realize that this game can never work. It can never work in this way because you didn't lose your value externally. You lost it internally. So to get it back, you don't get it externally. You get it internally. It's like the story. There was this grandma and she had lost a diamond necklace, right? And then she was outside of her home and she was searching for it. And then her kids came home. They're like, Grandma, what are you searching for? And the grandma's like, oh, I lost my diamond necklace. I'm searching for it. And then they search for it all day. And then the sun goes down. And the kids are like so sad. They're like, Grandma, we couldn't find the necklace. We're so sorry. We couldn't find it. And then the grandma's like, of course you couldn't find it. They're like, what do you mean? She's like, I didn't lose it outside. I lost it inside. And then they're like, what the fuck? Why did you make us waste all this time looking for it outside? And then she's like, because that's what you do. Inside is dark, here is light. So you spend all your time looking for it outside when you actually lost it inside. But you're scared of the dark. You're scared to go inside. Well, that's the only place you'll actually fucking find it.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Bro, it's so fucked. Like, it's so crazy. And like, I experienced it so many times and I still get conned. I still look for my diamond necklace outside.
What can we do about it?
We can talk about it. But I also think like there's like so much lightness and like I kind of got like a little bit like, you know, it's like so serious, but like it's like I also have this like vibe where it's like just like it's like a fuck it type of vibe where it's just like so funny to me. It's just like so humorous, and that's why I like you know, mixing it up with a little bit of humor too, because sometimes like people can just take this and they're like, fuck my diamond necklace, fuck the outside, I gotta look for it inside. Like fuck all that shit too. Just like, you know, just see the situation for what it is and have a fucking blast. And I'm not against the outside at all. I want to enjoy the outside to the fullest, but I can only enjoy it with my real qualities and my real capacities, right? It's like, you know, the feeling you have on vacation, like I talked about earlier. I want to feel like that as I'm building my business, not just when I'm in Hawaii.
because your vacation, building your business is a vacation. It is an experience of joy and finding new things and making connections and seeing things that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to see. It really is. It's an experience of just abundance and seeing things change, but only if you look at it with fresh eyes. Only if you have that internal compass and those internal eyes to see it that way, right?
Exactly. And that's why you gotta let go of the label so you can actually look at it freshly. Like, it's insane, bro. One time I was doing the inquiry, right? And like, I could actually start smelling reality. And like the moment I could smell it, like with the inner nose, with the inner senses. And like the teacher was like, yo, what does this smell like? I'm like, it smells like toothpaste. It smells like Colgate. It smells like that minty fresh breath you have after you're done brushing your teeth. Like every moment smelled so fresh and so new. And then my teacher asked me a question that completely fucked with my mind. She's like, how does your normal experience of life smell? I'm like, oh shit, that's a question nobody has ever asked me, right? And then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how does my normal life experience smell? And I'm like, oh, it smells like fucking trash. It smells like garbage. It smells stale and it smells rotten because I'm bringing yesterday onto today. It's like, bro, today when you're eating your next meal, right? And it's a fresh meal. And it's a new meal, fresh ingredients. Picture this, imagine this. You're seated at the dinner table, right? You're about, I'm sorry if I fucking disgust you a little bit, but trust me, this is valuable. So like you're seated at the dinner table and you're about to eat, right? And then I run into your kitchen. I go through the garbage and I pick up the remains of yesterday's meal and I sprinkle it on top of your new fresh meal. Right? Would you eat that meal? You would be like, Tej, this is fucking disgusting. Again, you kick me out and you fucking punch me. That's the theme, right? And then you would be like, yo, this is fucking disgusting. But the point is, right now it's a fresh moment. But what I'm doing with my mind is sprinkling the garbage of yesterday onto this moment unconsciously. And I'm living in this reality. That's why earlier when I was like, Danny, if I relate to you as an idea, as a concept, as a name, I'm essentially taking the garbage from yesterday. And it's always garbage. It's all the past. It's not fresh anymore. It could be the most amazing memory, idea, thought that I have of you, but it's still from the past. It's still garbage. It's still outdated. It's not new. It's not fresh. So it's like the equivalent of taking yesterday's meal, the garbage, how it smells, how it's rotten, and sprinkling it over the fresh food of today. And I feel like that's what we unconsciously do with every moment of our lives. And that's why tomorrow looks like a repeat of yesterday. And fucking 2022 looks like fucking 2021. And it feels the exact same way. And then we end this year and we're like, fuck, man, what happened, man? I had all these goals, man. I had all these ambitions, man. I wanted to go there. I wanted to be this type of person. And then the year ends and you don't even know what the fuck happened. And I'm speaking personally. I'm speaking like you as me. Like, I don't even know what the fuck happened. And then the next year starts and there's more freshness of life that's appearing. And it's like, oh shit, Tej, here's another fucking year. 2023 is right here. Then I'm like, all right, this is my fucking year, boys. Nobody talk to me. This is my fucking year. And then the first year, the first couple of months passed. And then what do? I go into the garbage. I pick out 2021, 2022, and I sprinkle it over 2023. And then I end the year in the same fucking boat.
Let me ask you, my grandma sends me photos all the time of old memories and just pictures of the past. Like, should I give her this clip next time? Like,
the difference? So like what your grandma is doing is actually she's doing it in a real way, because like to experience that photo, you have to be in the present to experience it and take it in, right? So it's like you can bring up the past while you're being in the now. But what we do is we take the meal of yesterday and we sprinkle it over the new meal of today to the point that we are no longer eating the new meal. We're eating the old meal over and over and over again. We're disconnected from the present. We have retreated to the past. But when your grandma sends you the photo, you're looking at it with your current eyes. You're looking at it with your fresh eyes. And you're like, wow. And that's when nostalgia starts coming up in the moment and you start feeling that. So I say all that to say this. Grandma has it right.
Always. That's the moral of the story. And before we got on today, I was asking Grandma was telling her that I was talking to you today, and I was asking her if she had any questions for you, and she asked me if you know of or do turnarounds. Have you heard of Turnarounds by Byron Katie?
Ooh, I know Byron Katie. Is that was she the one that had the 4-step process? The questions, the work?
Yes. The work, exactly.
Yeah.
I read it probably a couple months ago, so I don't have it fresh. I don't have the idea. But the basic premise of a turnaround is that if you say to somebody or you think a thought like I really don't like when Tej does X, you have to then turn it around and say, I really don't like when I do this. So I was just curious if you had heard of it, if you do it, if you have any thoughts on turnarounds via my grandma.
That's a fire grandma. I mean, that's a fire grandma.
It is a fire grandma. That is such a fire grandma. You have no idea.
Shout out to fire grandma. I was going to say that's a fire question. But actually, that is a fire grandma, right? So, so like with the Byron Katie stuff, I actually am not familiar with like the turnarounds, but the way I do that is like just speaking in terms of what I'm for instead of what I'm against, and like taking ownership of that, right? And that has honestly transformed my life in like ways that I can't even put into words. Just that simple thing. Speaking in terms of what you're for instead of what you're against. Let's hear it.
Yes. So
I feel something bubbling. No,
I love it. I love it because I think I first read, maybe in Marianne Williamson, Return to Love, or a book like that. She talked about the importance of being for peace, not against war. And like, why is that such a powerful practice?
Yeah, so like the reason it's been like really powerful for me is like it feels like sometimes, speaking of like those subjective lenses, right? It feels like there's so much to see. There is so much out here, and we can only process so much at a time because of the limits of the brain, right? So the more we kind of give it inputs, the more it produces those outputs. And it doesn't create the outputs. The outputs have always been here, but we just can't perceive it. We just can't see it. So like with my experience, just speaking in terms of what I'm for allows me to see more of what I'm for. And then that creates the reality of just that, as opposed to when I do it the opposite way. So I think like for me, it's just like, that's all I know. And like, that's like my simplest example for why I think it's like that.
It makes sense to me.
Brother, if it makes sense to you, fuck it, let's move on.
I love it, man. One other thing I want to talk to you about was nature. And, you know, the theme music for your podcast, you don't know this, is the nature intro and outro, and I was just setting that up, and it's just really beautiful. It really is your vibe. Your vibe is nature to me, at least. Just like the birds, the chirping, if I go out in nature and I think of what is nature like, I think of you.
Wow, bro, that's like a top 3 compliment right there. I got to fucking cliff note this shit.
We will. But I think, you know, someone shared with me that nature's frequency is 7.83 hertz or something like that, and that is, it just makes us feel good when we're in alignment with that specific frequency. And go on.
No, go on. My bad. No, bro, you go.
It's just like, it's like, what is that? Why do we feel so at peace? What is going on? Why does nature vibrate at that frequency? Is nature conscious? Like, is the earth conscious? That's all I could think about while I was watching Welcome to Earth from Will Smith. Is like, is this thing breathing? Is this thing making decisions that we can't possibly understand?
I think it is such a juicy thing. I think like not only is nature conscious, but also the chair I'm sitting on is conscious. I think the desk is conscious. I think my wall is conscious, right? But that's like a side tangent. Speaking of...
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to come back to that.
But yo, I have a question for you, right? So you're like, I don't know anything about frequencies, so I don't know anything about this world. But when you're like, what makes me curious is like when you're like, nature is like vibing at a certain frequency and it makes us feel good and it makes us feel better, right? So my question for you is, I think there's a deeper reason why that is actually happening. But I'm curious of why you think it makes us feel good. Why do you think it makes us feel a certain way?
From my brain's most logical conclusion, it's like that's where we came from. And if you evolve, and like particularly like the ocean, even like if you think about the ocean, it's like the theories that we have available are like that single cell organisms became multi-cell organisms in water, I assume. And I could be speaking completely out of pocket. I could have no clue what I'm talking about, but that's my impression, is that that is what is going on, is like, and we still have that inside of us in this moment. Some of that single cell to multi-cell, the water, we're 70% water ourselves, like, or 90%, I don't know, like a crazy percentage of us is water. So that speaks to nature as well. But dude, it's just weird. You go to a forest, you go to a beach, and you're like, oh, this feels right. What is going on there? Like, why? So I have no idea, but I think it's because of something to do with evolution, or like that's where we were when we first started. What do you think?
Yeah, I think like here's my theory, right? So I think that imagine you are an all-powerful being. Okay, let's start there. Let's start with you being
infinite, like, perhaps.
Yes, infinite. I like that word. That's a juicy word, right? So like you're an all-powerful, infinite being, and you're full of this awe and this wonder and this joy and this love and this strength and this compassion, and it's infinite. It's not like the little bit of little doses of joy that we normally feel in conventional reality. It's like the whole fucking deal. It's like a mini universe in itself. The joy you can feel and how you can deepen into it so much, right? So imagine you are this infinite being and you're vibing so high, and then you go through life and you become disconnected from that as a part of the normal part of human development, right? And then you go from being this infinite, all-powerful being that is experiencing all these things because it is these things, these qualities, and then you become a limited version of that through the human form. And then you go into nature, and when you're in the presence of nature, you start feeling the all-infinite nature again. You start feeling the all-infinite vibes, and then you point to nature, and you think nature is giving it to you. But what I feel is like the unconscious memory of who we truly are is encoded deep inside of us, and when we're in the presence of nature, it's re-stimulating that memory, and nature is ultimately a reminder of who we are, how all-powerful we are, how all amazing we are, how all peaceful we are. And when we're in the presence of nature, that thing in our DNA gets stimulated, it gets aroused, it gets triggered. Aroused is a funny word to use there. It gets triggered. It gets triggered, and then you start thinking like, whoa, I just feel so good. And like my thing is like nature is just holding up a mirror to show you how powerful you truly are, how powerful you have always been, because nature is you and you are nature. And that's why when you were like, yo, the vibe is nature, like that's why I was like, that's a top 3 fucking compliment.
Yes, that makes sense. And it makes me think about like, what if we all created nature, right? Like what if there's a part of us that deep down believes or knows that we built it ourselves, and that's inside of us. And that's what's getting triggered, and that's what's getting aroused.
Ooh, I feel that. I feel like we created everything, and like I don't mean we as in like the. I don't even mean me as in we as in like the human form. I mean like the truth.
What's the truth?
I don't know, bro.
This is where we throw in the disclaimer. Oh, Tej saying all of his beliefs are bullshit, that they're only there to serve him and he doesn't know anything, and then goes off.
Bro, that's
on
the
what
best way
the
to
truth
go.
really is. Okay, so disclaimer. Tej and me don't know anything. We're just talking out of our ass. We have no clue. We're just vibing out here. We have no clue, and anything we say cannot be used against us, and it's just complete BS. But what is the truth?
Yeah, anything we say cannot be used against us. Only for us, please.
Exactly. Well said. Well said.
So, it's so funny, bro, when you're like, we give the disclaimer, then we just go on a fucking rant, and then inside I'm like, yeah, that's the fucking truth, truth. But because we use the disclaimer, it's like, alright, it's just so fucking cool. It's like the
Bro,
ultimate.
we would never use the disclaimer if we were just on a phone call by ourselves, you know?
Exactly.
But like, because other people are listening to it, shout out grandma, it's like we have this feeling that we need to conform to what other people believe we should say.
Yeah, exactly. Even like sometimes like on the conversation, like even with myself when I'm speaking, sometimes I can pick it up when I'm just speaking to you and it's such a good conversation, such a good vibe. And when the like another part feels like I'm speaking to like a bunch of people, like the public, and then I like contract more. Right? So like I noticed that like within myself as well, like when it just comes to these public mediums, and like even with the disclaimer, like it's so funny, like you said, like we talk about like even crazier shit, right? And then it's not like, can you imagine how funny that would be, like me and you having a conversation and we're like, yo, before we start we gotta set a disclaimer here. But like it's really interesting to even see that within myself. And yeah, let's start, man. I love this. It's like a open floor dialogue. Like we're really exploring and we're really discovering. And this is what I think the power of conversation is. Because you say something and then I build on it. I say something, you're like, oh, that's some dumb shit. Then we go back to ground floor. And then you say something, we build up again. Then I say something and we build up again. And we're like, whoa, it's like an art that we're building like live in the flesh spontaneously. So let's start, man. Let's start this adventure.
So beautiful. So truth, like what is the truth and how do we come to the truth?
I think there's like two ways to explore this. One could be like what is truth, and the other could be like what is falsehood.
Ooh, I like that. What is truth? For me, truth occurs when I'm sitting with myself. Like when I remove the layers, I feel as if I am acting more in alignment with truth. Like if I remove the layers from my thought, and just be with myself as I am, I'm less likely to, snap at a family member or say something that's incorrect or say something flippant. But if I have spent time with myself, if I have removed the layers and I'm just being, I feel as if truth is more apparent and the actions that I take are the correct ones. That to me is truth. Truth is stripping the layers away. What is truth to you?
I think for me there's like levels to there's levels to the truth. And I feel like I and all of us are a manifestation of the truth, right? So like even like going back to like, bro, this experience is so touching. Like, it's like life changing, bro. Like the shit yesterday was just so fucking insane. And like, as I was experiencing it, it felt like from this ground, that ground was like truth itself. It was so pure. It was so fresh. It was so amazing and so rich. And it felt like the ground of truth. And that was like our ultimate home. Right? You can call it whatever you want. In certain religions, they call it different things. But I think in my humble, innocent, naive, I don't know shit opinion, that I think they're speaking about the same thing. But as I was experiencing that ground, it felt like from that ground, there's only one ground. The source is just that one source. And it's manifesting all these different people of different races, of different colors, of different uniqueness, and all these different animals. And we are a manifestation of that underlining truth. So I think the truth is the ground of being, and since we are an expression of being, we are that truth. And I think it ties into what you're saying, because when you're just being, you're opening yourself up to be acted through by that ground of being, which is what is happening all the time. But normally it gets distorted and filtered and dimmed down. So I think what truth is what we see and what we experience when we're being fully ourselves. And what falsehood is even like you can experience falsehood and like suffering and like depression and like anxiety. Like all those things are real things. But like, what are they pointing to? Like, why are we getting depressed? Because we know that this is not the truth. What we're feeling is not the truth. Something has gone wrong. It's a signpost. It's like, yeah. Depression to me is like a check engine light in your car. It's like, yo, it's like suffering to me is like that check engine light. It's like, yo, buddy, you're like going at it the wrong way. You're doing something in a wrong way that is not truthful. You are an all-powerful being and you have deviated from that. And as a result, I have to hit you with something to get your attention. I have to hit you with suffering. I have to hit you with something. Wake up, bro, wake up. If I don't hit you with something, to hit you with suffering is the most compassionate thing it could hit you with, because it's trying to wake you the fuck up. It's like, buddy, come on. You are so powerful and you're believing in bullshit. To get you to wake up, I'm gonna make X happen in your life so you actually become present again. You know, I had the coronavirus. It was the most present I ever felt in my life because my entire body was in pain. And I had to be present to feel that pain because I couldn't run from it. And I was like, this is a blessing. This is amazing. I'm so present right now. But I would not be present if it wasn't for the pain. And I view suffering as the same way. It's a signpost. It's a guide. It's like, yo, you're believing in something that is false. And now It's not like a punishment. I'm going to make you suffer because you're believing in bullshit. It's a compassionate act. I have to make you suffer so you wake up and realize this is not you and you realign with the truth. And that's why when you're being the truth, that's why when we're doing things like 75 hard and we're hitting everything, we feel good. It's not 75 hard that is making us feel good. What is 75 hard? It's just a program. The reason we're feeling good is because we're acting in alignment. We speak about this word all the time. What are we aligned to? What are we talking about when we're like, oh, I feel aligned, like everything is just flowing, I feel so good? And we never ask ourselves, like, what are you aligned to? And you're just like, I'm just aligned to myself. And that's true, but it's the deeper, it's the truer self, it's the grounded being that you're aligned to. And that's why you feel good. So when you feel good, you're acting in truth. And like, it's such a cool thing that I use because it's applicable on all levels. Even when I want to grow a business, I'm like, okay, what's the truth in growing a business? Am I living the truth? Where am I deviating from living the truth of growing a business? And then I just follow the truth and the business is a success. When I deviate and I go into falsehood, the business is a failure. In relationships, what is the truth of this relationship? Am I living the truth? Am I speaking the truth? I do that. Relationship is a success. I don't do that. I start speaking bullshit. I start saying other shit. The relationship suffers. Truth is the highest thing. And in the dream of life, the only thing we have on our side is truth because it's the compass. It's our compass. It's that compass that returns us back to our almighty power. And the more we can leverage it, the more we can fucking soar to new heights. Everything I see and everything we're doing is amazing, but I think the true potential of a human being hasn't even been actualized. We're in the fucking first inning of a fucking 72 inning game. There's no game with 72 innings, but fuck it. With a 72 inning game. And I feel like the more we start actualizing the truth, we can actually start living truthfully. And that's when real life starts. Because until then, we're just living a false life. And like in many ways, you may not even classify that as actually living.
Dude, that was epic, first of all. Oh my God. I'm so happy we have that recorded. Oh my God. Second of all, do you think we're born with an internal compass, an internal guide of, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is the path you're supposed to take in this incarnation. Do you think like we're born with that? You see it so often with people doing certain things and it's like, oh, that person was born to do that. And it's like, you feel joy when you're aligned with that purpose. This podcast brings me so much joy. It feels like I'm aligned with some greater purpose, some compass that I was programmed into my DNA with. And it fits so perfectly to who I am as a human being. And it's like you see other people doing their thing in their arenas. And you're like, that person was meant for that. Like, where does that come from?
I think, like, in my opinion, where it comes from is like, if you look at nature again, right, you realize that nature never makes a duplicate of anything, right? Like my favorite way to look at it is like a snowflake. No two snowflakes are alike. They're beautiful in their own right. And same with everything else, a blade of grass, a body of water, an animal, like whatever, a human being, everything is like unique, right? So it's like all a manifestation of the same ground. That's why we're connected. That's why if I like hate somebody else, it's because I don't even know who I am, right? If I knew who I am, I couldn't hate somebody else because I'm like, oh, maybe that person is doing some fucked up shit. But like, we come from the same home. We come from the same ground. We share the same ground. We share the same ground. So it's like we cannot actually be in a hateful state. But anyways, when it comes to the uniqueness, I feel like from that ground, uniqueness is emanating. And like one form that uniqueness takes is like the human being and the Danny Miranda and the Tej Dosa. And it's a unique expression of the grounded being. And I feel like with that unique expression, there are certain unique inclinations that are already there that can be actually, I'm going to use it again, that can be aroused, right? And then they can like actually lead to greater expression. But like truthfully, I don't know. Like some people say that you even come here with like a certain intention that you want to fulfill. And like that's the purpose. But I don't know. I don't actually know anything. So it just feels like certain things I have a certain inclination to that seems to be there already. Like even you shared this, I think it was in our conversation and I read the book after. It was like letting your life speak, like the life that is already there, let that live through you as opposed to try to live like more so a programmed life. And I was reading that and like as he's talking about like his granddaughter and he's like writing all those notes down about like how she was at a very young age. And then he gave that to her when she was like 18 or 20, like this is like your unique expression. Like hopefully you never lose true self. If you do, like this is a reminder. I feel like it's like baked into the system and somehow because like even when you look at babies, like no two babies are alike. One thing arouses the baby, another thing depresses the baby, and it's like it could be the same thing. So I feel like there's definitely uniqueness there. But I feel like the only way to actually experience that uniqueness is by actually getting present. Because when you're fully present, the past no longer exists, no more influences exist, no more conditioning exists in that split moment. And then whatever you feel naturally compelled to do happens spontaneously through you, and then you're like, oh shit, I feel aligned. Like same thing with your podcast. Like it wasn't scripted, it wasn't planned. You're like, yo, I just feel the spontaneous inclination to have conversations with people on the phone. Who wants to have a conversation? DM me. And like that can never be scripted. And then you start having these conversations and you're like, oh shit, these are fucking fire. Like why didn't we have this recorded? And it's like, oh shit, the Danny Miranda podcast. Like that's not an accident. Like that was meant to be because it's a spontaneous expression of the real inside you. And you just had the courage to actually express that.
Yeah. So you mentioned the number one way to get in touch with your uniqueness is to become present. What are ways we can become more present?
Oh, this is a good one. There's a book, right? It's called Hara, the Vital Center in Man. I think that's what it's called. Right?
And do you know how to spell that?
Yeah, it's Hara. and then just the vital center in man. Yeah, in man. And then essentially, and hara is like a Japanese word, and it basically just means belly, right? So essentially the premise of this book is there's a center just like a couple fingers below your belly button, and it's called hara. And this center can be developed and opened up, and it's like your connection back to like the greater life, right? So it's like we have an individual life, and there's also like a center inside of us that connects us to the greater life, right? So the more we connect to the greater life, the more our individual life becomes an expression of the greater capacities, the greater powers that are actually available to us all the time. But it's because we're disconnected, or we have the experience of being disconnected, that we don't experience that all the time. So the premise of this book is like to develop that center, and it essentially speaks to being present. So like what really helps me being present is to just be aware of that center all the time, to just be aware of my belly. And I notice it to be so powerful because normally my tendency is to rush to the head and live from my mind, and I can feel the energy going upstairs and living there. But when I like bring my attention and my focus back to the belly, like I can even acknowledge it right now as I'm talking about it, my energy is slowly coming down, and I'm coming more into the belly, and I'm more supported, and I'm more present, and I'm more locked in into this moment because of just being aware of the belly. So there's like centers in the body like this, and the belly is so powerful. It's like the roots of a tree, and some people say the belly center, you can actually build roots, so you feel so supported, so grounded, so here, so tapped in. And I find that to be one of the best ways. Just as you're living your life, just as you're writing copy, just as you're on a podcast, just as you're speaking to a friend, just be aware of your belly. Just keep some of your attention there, just in that region. You don't have to do anything special, and you just notice that something starts to shift. In the book, it's so epic. They're like, the man that lives with hara starts to speak and look and act like a different man, because the man that speaks with hara is actually a different man, because he is a man of being, not the man of programming or personality or conditioning. And I've been experiencing that the more I remember to do this. And I just find that being present becomes almost effortless because it's an expression. And you truly start to feel like you are an expression of that ground. And like then spontaneous insights emerge. You have these inclinations, like the smell of the wind starts feeling a little different. And it's like you become tapped in and one with life. And that's when you can flow with life as life. So I find the belly to be so important in making that happen.
Wow. I've never heard of that book or that idea or concept. So, man, always some gems. That's hara, the vital center in man. Interesting. Cool. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
You even notice it in like certain, especially back in the old days, like Japanese martial arts, like those masters. Yeah. Like I heard this one story. It's like when a master wanted to fight another master, they would actually not fight. They would actually come together and look at each other face to face. And if they saw a break in the other man's presence, the person that felt that break in their presence, they would bow down because they're not ready. They have already lost. And the way they would develop their presence, like when you look at it with the ancient people that were so into martial arts, they're like so grounded. They're like so here. They're like so tapped in. And like through martial arts, it's like, according to that book, this center is what they actually are developing.
What tests do we have today that we test each other on that are like little tests to, what were they trying to find? Dominance or just presence? Like, do we have anything similar to that in the modern day world?
They were trying to, I have a funny example. They were trying to find a break in your presence, because if me and you are fighting, then we have to be completely present. If for a second I lose my presence, that's when I will lose, because I wouldn't see the punch coming. Right? So like in that moment, if they saw a break in the other person's presence, they're like, okay, like I can beat this guy. Like I'm so present. When you're present, it's like you just see everything. Like sometimes when I'm working with full presence, everything just seems to be getting done. It feels like I have 8 arms. And Yeah, so like that's what they were going at. But like, I have a funny example. When you're like, what's the modern day test? I think.
Yeah, what's the modern day test?
I think I don't think there's anything like that, at least that I know. But I think one modern day test is partying, right? Partying sober. Partying sober, and this is what I mean. So when you party sober, and you go out, like you're at a club or you're at a party, right? There's a vibe of the night, right? There's this idea, there's this vibe of the night that is actually creating and holding up, and like, it's just the vibe of the party, a vibe of the atmosphere, the vibe of the club that you're in, right? And to be fully present when you're fully locked in is when you become the vibe of the night and you have the most epic time, right? And the times when you don't have a good time partying is like when you're disconnecting yourself from the vibe of the night. You're too much in your head. You're like, you're too much in your head. You're like, no, man, like I can't go talk to that girl, man. Like, fuck, I'm scared, man. Like, it's like you're disconnecting yourself from the vibe of the night. And like, you're scared to go dance. But the times you're the most free is when you become the vibe of the night. So I think a good little test is like to go out into a club sober, by yourself or with your boys, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Although like by yourself, it's like a greater test. I would work my way up to that and like go there sober, feel the vibe of the night, and view this as the test of presence, because that presence is all around you. Now, can you surrender to it? Can you become it? Can you let go? Or do you retreat to your mind and you play out the identity of being separate from the vibe of the night, from playing into your delusions? Like, no, man, I can't do this, I can't do that. Are you stuck in your head? Or do you become one with the vibe of the night? And you'll notice that the more you become the vibe of the night, the more epic the night becomes. And you end up going on adventures, ending on fucking yachts, ending up somebody's fucking house. It's like fucking insane. And you're dead sober and people think you're the most fucking drunk. They're like, bro, are you on Molly? Are you on fucking psychedelics? I'm like, nah, bro, I'm just the vibe of the night.
You know what it makes me think of? It's like when people come together, even just with two people, it creates a vibe. It creates a different energy. And it's like, it's more pronounced when there's 100 people at a club or 1,000 people or in a stadium, right? 50,000 people all screaming. It creates a vibe where people do things that they otherwise wouldn't have done. They're in a group, they're in a swarm. And it just makes me think like we can't quantify that in this moment, like what is happening, what the vibe level is like, and trying to connect to that vibe. But like, I think in the future there will be technology that will allow people to connect with vibes, or at least like be able to quantify what a particular vibe is like.
1,000%. 1,000%. I agree. I think something so special is happening. And like, I feel like our ability to let go and become one with the vibe, whether it's the vibe of the night or it's the vibe we feel in nature, is actually the key to living out the most epic existence possible. Because even in nature, right, you'll have two people going for a walk or sitting on a bench. One person is feeling the vibe of nature and becoming one with it. The other person is on a phone bitching about a business deal.
It's crazy.
And
it's crazy. It's
yeah,
the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I feel like so to go deeper, so I feel like the grounded being is constantly manifesting the vibe, and it's our ability to align with the vibe. And when we align with it, we have a fire podcast. When we are more in our head and we're like, no, the vibe is here, but we're like, I'm like leaning back a little bit, like not like fully participating, then it's like a shit podcast, right? And the reason I feel like we have such epic podcasts is because we're just vibing. And you vibing by being. Vibing is a play on word of being fully here. And then by being, you become the vibe of the night, the vibe of nature, the vibe of this podcast.
I love it, man. It's so true. Bro, on the topic of podcasts, how come you're not often a guest on other podcasts?
That's a good question, bro. Now I stopped vibing, bro. I'm kidding. So like,
I've seen you on a couple, but not that many.
Yeah,
and I feel like your voice is needed on more podcasts.
I feel like there's like been like, so like there's like two types of podcasts, right? One is like like I don't mean to be like rude or anything, right? But I feel like there's like two types of podcasts. One type of podcast is like where it's like I feel like I'm on a stage and I'm like playing out a role. I'm like acting in accordance with my role in life, right? So it would be more like, oh, Tej, like, yo, what do you do? Oh, you're a copywriter. Or like, what do you think about the new marketing trends? Like, what do you think about NFTs? What do you think about this? Which is fine. It's cool. Like, I love that stuff. I love marketing. I love copy. I love business. I've been doing it pretty much since 14. But I feel like it takes something away from me when I do those podcasts a lot, right? It feels like I have to put on some type of show. I have to like conform to this role that society expects of me of being the business person or the copywriter. And then it becomes like this experience where when I end the podcast, it feels like my energy is actually depleted as opposed to raised. And then there's other podcasts like yours. Like every time you ask me, bro, I could be doing something else. I'll be like, fuck that. I'm fucking vibing with Danny, right? And it's because every time with these podcasts, it's like, I'm still a marketer. I'm still a copywriter, but it's like, I love it because like, we don't even talk about that shit. And it's like so epic to me. We just talk about random shit. We're just like in the moment fully. And a podcast like this, I leave feeling so high. So really, this is like a very long way of just complimenting your podcast because your podcast allows me to just vibe, whereas some other podcasts, no disrespect, right? But they're sometimes just like the energy is a little off. Like they really want you to like conform to a certain role, which is fine. You can do that sometimes, but I can't be doing that all the time.
Dude, that makes so much sense. And I actually spoke to Kamal Ravikant, author of Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, about this very topic. So he stopped doing podcasts. And the reason why he stopped doing podcasts is because he felt like he was repeating himself over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And he was just saying the exact processes of the book and how it worked and his story. And it's like the same thing over and over. And when he came on my podcast, he was like, oh my God, this wasn't that at all. Like, I'm so happy I did this. Like, and he was just really happy. And I was explaining to him what was happening. He is actually in love with the process of creation. And when he was not creating in those other podcasts, he was feeling like a robot. But when he came on this podcast, it was a creation. It was an act of joy. It was spontaneity. It was learning new things. It was building and growing. And he was saying things that he hadn't thought through, or maybe it was just a half thought and we made it into a 3/4 of a thought. And it was just a fun experience. And it was about the process of creation. When we are creating, we are having fun. And so often when we go through the same motions over and over and over again, and we say the thing over and over again, which we've already said, it's not a creation. And it's why it bothers me so much when I'm not able to ask difficult questions of people or ask questions that they're not expecting. And I hear them say the same thing on my podcast that they said a million other times. It's because I wish that I could break them out of that shell in that moment and get them to create something new. And that's what we're all, if we really boil it down, that's what we want. We want to create. We want to build. We want to do things that we've never done before. And so I hope and use this forum as a way for people to hopefully be able to do that.
Wow. Bro, that was fucking surreal. That was epic. You put it like in such good terms, like the words you used. That's exactly it. It's exactly how I feel too.
It's creation. We love creating. Bro, when was the last time you created and just you got a high from the process of creation? What was that moment?
Ooh. So like I feel like the way I try to live my life, especially as of recent, is to view every moment as an act of creation.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful.
And it's like I think I had a conversation with you or somebody else, but it was actually inspired from our conversations, right? I would be like, I would leave the conversation. I would just be like, I would go on a walk, of course, and I would feel like I'm floating on air, right? And I would be like, yo, what the fuck is happening? This is epic, right? And like I would be floating on air for like days, like a natural high. And I would just be like vibing and just feeling so good. And I was like trying to like reverse engineer it. And I was like, yo, why do I like feel like I'm floating on air right now? This is epic. And like it was because like I was like living life spontaneously, and I was creating like through this conversation. Like you asked certain questions, I had no scripted answers, and in the moment, it was a fresh creation, right? And it feels so good. It feels so satisfying. Even when I'm writing, like even sometimes, like if it's like a copy project, I don't even want to do it, bro. I already know the formula. I already know everything. It's not fucking exciting. I like the musings because I can just vibe out and just create freshly, and it feels like a real experience. So like I have really been making a conscious shift towards not caring. I used to care so much, bro. I want to be the GOAT marketer. I want to be the GOAT businessman. I want to be the GOAT copywriter. Like, fuck all that shit. I want to be the GOAT at living, man. I want to be the GOAT at creating in every single moment. So I truly try to, like, especially recently, like really embrace that. And the beautiful part about creating every single moment is you can never hold on to anything, right? So you get all the money, you get all this praise, you get all this, but in that, when you get that, you've already moved on to the next creation. And to create, you have to create fully without holding on to anything from the past. Everything is fresh. So it's like you're just creating to create, because even though you're getting things from it, you can't even hold on to anything because you're too busy creating. And that's what gives me the greatest joy. So it's like more so just an orientation to life. It's like I'm going on a walk. How can I create when I'm going on a walk? I'm on this phone conversation, this podcast. How can I create? How can I create in my relationships? And like even my apartment, like there's a certain room, I'm just going to deck it out and just be like, it's the creator's thing. Like have all types of things there, like just like paintbrushes and like coloring books and just like whiteboards all over and just like crazy shit. And it's just like this vibe of just like wanting to create, because like since a kid, like I spoken about earlier, I've always just carried these moleskin notebooks, and like I felt the most me when I had an outlet to just transfer those ideas, to just be creating. And when I stop creating is when I grow sick and depressed and miserable, because that's a sign that I have stopped creating. It's not a sign that something's wrong with me. It's a sign that we were born to create. So the more we create, the more alive we feel. And when we get disconnected from that, when we start consuming, we lose touch with our own flame, our own creativity. So like really, bro, I'm just trying to be the GOAT at living, and I don't really care. I care a little bit, man. I ain't gonna lie. I care a little bit, but I want to be the GOAT at living.
You know, it's funny when you describe that room in your house of like paintbrushes and all this crazy stuff. It's like, that's exactly what I would imagine if you're like, yeah, there's this crazy billionaire, like he's got this crazy room and all he does, like people who are thinking outside the box at that level, like seem to achieve massive success of like, yeah, I'm just going to have this room in my house dedicated towards creating whatever I want. Like it's absurd.
Exactly. And like that's my whole thing, bro. Like what I want to do with my life is like play the external game to my fullest potential, but I want to play it in the most truest way possible. I want to play it in a new way. You know, there's so many people that have made billions of dollars, but they all play by the same playbook, and they end up with the same look, the same divorce, the same kids. It's like the same fucking playbook. I want to play so creatively, so spontaneously, without even knowing what the fuck is happening, and I want to see where the fuck I end up, because something tells me that would actually be higher than anything else that I could have done if I just went by the book. And I will have so much life infused in me as I'm living. And even if nothing happens, when I'm dying, when I'm taking that last breath, even that last breath will be a fucking act of creation.
Damn. That's powerful. So I wanted to ask you about, I've started doing this practice that I've done many times before, which is just I love myself, right? Like over and over. Mm-hmm. Started 21 days ago.
Nice.
I love myself 100 times, writing it out. And of course, life turns magical. Like in ways that I can't explain, in ways where I'm like, how is this happening? Even this phone conversation is like, how is this happening? Like, this is crazy. This is magic. And like, we've done it so many times, but I don't lose the sense of like, this is incredible that, we would spend time together on this phone call. It's just like, it's wild to me. And so like, why does this practice have transformative effects? Why is me writing down I love myself 100 times in this notebook for the past 21 days? Why has that changed the outer world? Like, it's just writing 100 times I love myself. Like, what's happening there?
I think that's so beautiful to hear. That's amazing. I think it's the reason that has such powerful effects is the same reason that people read the Bible like 3 times a day. They're just reminding themselves who they are, and what you are is love itself. So when you're writing it down, you're actually, it's like we think we're writing, right? This is a crazy thought. This is another disclaimer. It's probably needed here. But we think we're writing in the external world. But what I think is there is no inside and there is no outside. So there actually is no separation between the internal and the external. It's all just one thing, right? It's like people talking about your inner world. Where the fuck is this world? I can't, where is it? It's inside me? Where the fuck is this inner world? My inner world is all around me. It's what I'm experiencing. You say something, it makes me feel away, or like I get cut off in traffic, it makes me feel away, and I get triggered. It's like, boom. It's like, that's my inner world. That experience right there is my inner world. So when you're writing, I love myself, we think what we're doing is we have a paper and we have a pen and we're writing dead words onto a piece of paper, right? And we're like, what the fuck? How is everything changing? I'm just writing dead words on a paper, right? Yep, but like, what? It's me too, bro. Like, this is what I mean. Like, until you asked me this question, I didn't even know. Like, this is. So I'm like discovering it because like yesterday I was writing dead words on paper too. That's why.
These words are alive, baby. The words are alive.
Exactly. So it's like I feel like when you're actually writing, you're actually getting in touch with the love that is already there, and that love has no choice but to paint your entire world with love, because that's actually not something we create. It's like that all the time. It's the world of love. Everything is made up of love. But when you're writing it down, you're realigning your compass with the truth again. And that's why it feels like, whoa, like everything just changed. But it's not the world that changed. The world was always like that. It's you that changed. And you can do things externally to change internally, because there is no internal and external. And when you transform internally, you transform externally. Like when I'm walking and there's litter on the ground, I feel like when I pick up the litter, I'm cleaning my consciousness.
Bro, I do the same thing. What the hell? What's going on? Dude, and you know what's so funny? Is I pick up the litter when I love myself. Like, I'll notice the litter and I'm not loving myself and I won't pick it up. What? It's like I'm not whole internally, so I can put up with a messy world externally.
1000%. I think like it speaks to our truest potential is to overflow. Right? To overflow our hearts, to overflow our love. So when you're in touch with the love, you have no choice but to pick up that litter, bro. You're overflowing so much that the love is picking up the litter through you. It's like, this is such a beautiful ground. It shouldn't have a piece of litter. And the litter is beautiful too. It just doesn't belong on the ground. Right? So it's like, the love is acting through you. And when you're not loving yourself, there's no love to act through you anymore, bro. So like, that's why we spaz at our loved ones. That's why we're like, fuck this, like, fuck that. The world is horrible. You know, when people are like shit talking you, it's like that person is just starved for love, man. Just give him some fucking love, man. Just see through the insults he's feeding you and just give him love, and it will melt something. Because when you're in touch with love, you're just overflowing and you have no choice but to overflow. And I feel like the highest potential of man is to overflow his heart in the most unique way. And when he's doing that, he's living the life that only he can live. The life that was truly meant for him. And it happens naturally. It's not something we have to create. It's not something we have to plan. Plans are good. Creations are good. But it just happens spontaneously through us. Like, what's that impulse that makes you pick up a piece of litter? And what's the impulse that doesn't make you pick up a piece of litter? Understand that, and you understand the game of life.
You know, I was reading this book about how this woman was going through a divorce, and she's going through the divorce, and her husband or ex-husband is trying to trigger her and get angry at her, and she decided, every time my ex-husband says something mean to me, I'm going to do something nice for myself. By a year or two later, they were laughing together and could host parties again, and the anger was from the ex-husband was gone. And it's like, wow, like, that's powerful. Like, you treating yourself with kindness can impact other people in an extraordinary way and bring them closer to you. Because what can the ex-husband do? Like, get mad at somebody who loves themselves? Like, he's just like, what is going on? Why would I do that? And so I just thought that was a powerful example of what's possible when we are in alignment, right?
It's actually, they're so fire. I love that you share that. It's a banger.
It's a fire grandma.
It's like, even with that, it really just speaks to how there's only one here, bro. Like, you know, like, even, like, I had, like, this, like, these notions of, like, you know, you want to, like, change the world. Like, you want to change this. But, like, when you change yourself, the world changes all along. It changes by itself because you were only experiencing the world through your eyes. And it was your eyes that needed changing, not the world, right? So, like, even when you're in touch with that love and you're loving yourself, everybody benefits, bro. I benefit. Yes. People listening to this podcast benefit. Like, we don't even know these people. They just benefit. They just feel the love inside themselves. They're like, holy shit, this is epic. And then they'll point to the podcast and be like, yo, thank you guys. Like, don't thank us. This is just a mirror for you to realize that it's inside you. The only reason you can feel high from listening to a podcast is because the high was already inside you, right? So, like, it's already there. It's already baked in. This is just a permission symbol. Like, fuck me. Like, fuck everything. Like, you are the one, right? That's what I love to really point out. But, like, even with just, like, loving yourself, it's, like, the most amazing act you can do for the entire world. Because, like, when you love yourself, everybody benefits.
Yeah. Like, have you noticed? This is the crazy thing I noticed was that when I love myself and the things that I do outside of the podcast are really where the podcast is made. Let me explain. Me writing, I love myself. Me going to the gym. Me doing the things that I know I'm supposed to do that are in alignment with my truth, my internal compass. That actually creates the podcast to be a magical experience. When I'm not doing those things, the podcast is not a magical experience, or it is less likely to be a magical experience because I haven't done what is in alignment with that compass. And it's like, that was a huge insight for me, realizing like the work was actually away from the process is where all the juice was. And it made me have more appreciation for every moment, because in every moment I was now deciding, do I want this podcast to be as wonderful as it possibly can be? Like, I can make that decision tonight when I'm going to sleep at the right time, or I can make that decision this morning if I choose to meditate. So does that resonate for you at all?
Bro, that's a banger. That resonates so much. Even I felt that so many times too, this exact same experience. And like, I have even set up my schedule to actually be in accordance with that, right? So like, when I was first doing like business stuff, it was just like, I would wake up, bro, I would just grab my laptop and I would just work, and then I would sleep. Like, that's it. Yeah. Like, sometimes I didn't even get out of bed. Like, it was pretty fucked, right? And then I was like, yo, like, the work is kind of fucking trash, right? Like, this is like, what the fuck am I producing? Like, I'm not even making any money. Like, what the fuck am I doing, right? And then, like, my schedule these days, it's like, when I wake up, the first 2 to 3 hours, it's just like, I call it lifetime, right? And then I have my first 2 hour deep work block. Then I have a 2 hour break, and then a 2 hour deep work block, and then like a 1 hour open loops block or whatever, right? And like, people think, and I used to think, that all the work happens during the deep work blocks, but it doesn't. All the work happens in the life blocks, in the breaks, because that's when I renew myself to supply and infuse the copy, the work with. And you just sharing that kind of just reinforced that for myself.
Yeah, what do you do in the life blocks? Like, what's that first 3 hours you said of your morning look like? What does that first life block look like for Tej Dosa?
I like to just I like to approach that life block creatively, spontaneously, right? That doesn't mean that I do like new shit. I do the same shit, but I do it like I'm doing it for the first time. I really try to embrace that mentality, that mindset. So like, the shit I do is like, the life blocks are like the same. Like, obviously I go on a walk. I've mentioned that like fucking 90 million fucking times already, right? So like, walks, meditate, just sitting outside, exercising, going to the gym, breathing, stretching, just like vibing, just like doing nothing. Doing nothing is so epic. Like I do that more so like towards the end of the night where I'm just chilling on a couch and I'm just doing nothing. Right? It's so funny. People are like, yo, Ted, you want to come out? I'm like, no, I can't come out. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. They're like, why can't you come out? I'm like, because I'm doing nothing. And then nothing time, because in the nothing time is where all the juice is being made, right? I need that nothing time. So, yeah, those are the types of things I do. I don't like to like read. I don't like to like consume stuff in the morning because I feel like it muddies my own creativity. So I like save like reading and like learning and stuff like that, and like listening to things like for the end of the night when I have like used up my creative juices and I need that spark to be renewed again. So just a combination of those things, man. Just like vibing, but the most important thing in those life blocks is to be fully present. So like whenever I'm doing something, whether it's like making a cup of tea, try to do it with full presence. And I find that that's when I start getting all these ideas and spontaneous creative thoughts arising. And that's why I originally had the Moleskine notebook in my pocket, because I didn't like typing on phones.
Do you still carry around the Moleskine, or do you use something else?
No, it's in my backpack right now. Even that, bro, I noticed I went away from the Moleskine for so long and it stopped feeling like me because there was no longer an outlet for my creativity. And I was like, yo, I need this Moleskine, man. It's not the Moleskine. The Moleskine is just a fucking permission symbol. It's just a little tiny little book, right? Like, what the fuck is that giving me? But it's allowing me to be more me, so I need my Moleskine, bro. I feel weird, man. One time I lost my Moleskine in the park. I was like, fuck, I felt like I lost like my arm or something, man.
Damn, I mean, those Moleskines that you have like one for every year, right? Like you just do year 26, year 27. Like, is that the Moleskine you're talking about, or a different one?
It's like I have that one. I have like a bunch of them, but like this one is like a pocket-sized Moleskine.
Gotcha.
So it's like it's like a little tiny one. It's so funny, bro. Like when I'm in the park, like I'm sitting on the park bench, like I'm just writing in my Moleskine, and like people are just like clowning on me, like, bro, what are you doing? You're on the phone.
Who clown? What? Actually, is that
No,
a real thing? Like,
no,
like clown on you?
Like in a fun, compassionate way, like, you know, like, bro, like no fun, like what's going on here? Like, because I just look so funny, like I'm like just on the fucking park bench, just scribbling away on a Moleskine notebook, and the notebook is so tiny. I'm like so into it. It just looks like so funny to do, and I love it.
Yeah, it's funny because I had a roommate and friend who said one time that if you're just not on a phone these days, it's weird. And I just didn't resonate with that at all. And I had no idea what he was talking about, because all the time I'm just spaced out or not on my phone and just like thinking or just like being. And it was interesting to hear that someone else's perspective of being on a phone or not being on a phone was a weird thing. Like why? Why do phones are such a recent invention in the grand scheme of things, but now we've labeled it weird that if you're not doing something, quote unquote, you should be on a phone. Yeah. Why is that?
That's such an interesting thing. Like the first time I noticed that was like in my university days. There was like a food court. There was like a food court downstairs below my campus, and like people would be eating with their friends, right? And then they would be like enjoying the meal, and then like say their friend goes up to go to the washroom. Initially, like right away, they would just grab their phone and just be on it. Yeah. And like I felt weird, like when my friends would leave, I felt weird for like looking around and shit, because I would just be sitting on the table by myself and just like looking, and like I felt like I was the odd one for just like looking and just sitting there, because everybody would just reach for their phones. And it's become like such a default habit. Like whenever there's dead time, we just think like there's something on the phone, but like the beauty is all around us.
Yeah. And we can make habits of the in-between time, right? Like every time you're at a red light, you could use that as a way to say one thing you're grateful for. Or, you know, if you have an urge to check your phone, you could use that urge to do something, like something that is going to help you in some way. And so I think it's about like, it's looking at and identifying those in-between moments where it's maybe only like 20 seconds. Like when you turn on the shower, Is there a moment where before you go in? Is there a moment after your shower where you can do something beneficial or positive? I think identifying those little moments are so crucial because those little moments add up to something amazing and you change your complete perspective. I actually mentioned on Twitter how my grandma and me, when we say something negative or complain, we then have to say something we're grateful for. And it's just like that little practice is so powerful because then you start to say, wow, like there's a lot to be grateful for and it reframes you.
That is beautiful, man. Bro, you need to get your grandma on the podcast.
Yeah, that would be really good. I would love to do that.
That would be amazing. But that reminds me of like this concept of like, I read it in some book, I think High Performance Habits, but it was like the concept of mastering the transition, like transition time. And like, I did it, like, then I forgot to do it. So this is like a good reminder to like redo it. But like when I was doing it, it was like really powerful. It's like, I think the example you used in the book is like you come home from work and you're driving and transition time is like right when you're about to leave your car and enter the house with your family, right? Yep. So often we just bring the vibe of the office into the vibe of the family life. And it's like we muddy the vibe, right? So it's like the transition time is an opportunity to like reconnect, or it's like transition time. Like before I started this podcast, it was like a transition. Like I could have set an intention, which I just like set an intention of like how I want to show up, like how I want to engage with this moment. And it's like, I feel like that's like really important to living spontaneously because you're actually creating through the transitions all throughout the day.
When you set an intention for this podcast, like what do you say? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so like for this podcast, the way I go about doing the intention, like what I would do is like a couple minutes before, like 5 minutes before the podcast, or like any Zoom call for that matter, or like any meeting, when I remember to do it, right? I would just like shut the fuck up first, right? I would just shut the fuck up and I would just get like quiet.
Good place to start.
I would just get quiet and I would get in touch with the actual, like the presence. I would get in touch with the presence. And then my intention would just be like simply to be spontaneous and to be open. It's like my intention is always to be open and available. Open and available, open and available for whatever needs to come out in the way that makes sense for me, for you, for anybody listening. And like my intention is just like, yo, I don't know anything. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't even know, no questions. I don't know, no answers. Just I am here, I am fully present, and I am open and available. Whatever comes from this podcast, it was the highest and it was what was supposed to come. And that is just my responsibility to just simply show up and be open and available. Because when I'm open and available, I'm opening myself up and I'm creating availability for magic to come through me, right? So that's my duty, just to be open and available and to be used in the most epic way possible in this moment in time. And if I do that, then it's epic. But if I don't do that, then it's like I got in my own way, right? But when I do that, I feel amazing, I feel epic, and the intention comes to life because that's how life always is. But it's just me getting in the way and blocking that flow. So the intention is pretty much the same, just to be open and available and to be acted through.
It's really incredible how life took you on this journey just in the past 2 hours of setting the intention, doing the conversation, and then coming back to the intention. Right, because I asked you about it at the end. It's wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bro, that was, bro, you're really good at that. You're really like tapped in and you're really good at like finding those jewels that I fucking just gloss over.
Thank you, man. Well, dude, this was incredible. It didn't disappoint. You know, like when I was starting this conversation, before I started, I was like, I wonder if it can be as good as the last one. As you know, like you start to put pressure on yourself because people enjoy it and you have this expectation then of yourself to live up to it. But I'm happy I forgot about all that until this moment. And I'm just really grateful for you, man, for being you, for being so open, for being available, for being a mirror, and for just being who you are, because I can't thank you enough. It's truly a remarkable thing to come across a person like you in this lifetime. And I'm just so excited, honored, and thrilled that every time we step on the mic together, it just brings me a level of joy that you can't possibly understand. So thank you so much, my man.
Bro, kidding. I would say absolutely the same for you. It's honestly been like such a joy. These conversations have been like such a treasure, and I truly, truly, truly just love them so deeply. And I feel like something really special is actually happening that we can't even see like with our eyes, but something deeper is like happening. And like I feel like one day we're gonna be like, yo, remember when we thought we were just on a podcast? Fucking magic was happening, man. Fucking magic. And I just want to fucking thank you for creating the space, bro. Like I said, with some just like, I feel like it's such a strong testament to where you're at, because it's very rare to come across something in the world that allows you to express yourself by not being in the world, by expressing ideas that normally aren't of the world, in a safe way, in a fun way, while you're just vibing, while you're just exploring. It allows you to stop being your character for a moment. Before, I said life is always changing, but it appears boring to us because we're being the same character that is going through life. But I just want to thank you, because through these podcasts, right, whether somebody is listening or whether you're recording with you, like I am right now, you give the gift of allowing the other person to cease being their character, whether it's for an hour, 2 hours, or whether it's for 3 days after when they're fucking walking on air. So thank you, my brother, for that.
Oh, man. Means the world to me. Everyone go check this man out. Comedic Bisman on Twitter. Go. Follow him if you haven't already. We really appreciate you listening, but I just really appreciate the moment for being. And yeah, what a beautiful experience.
What a beautiful experience. What a beautiful creation. Epic. It's crazy. Like, this is going to be like now there for essentially, like, not even like
eternity.
The world could,
eternity.
yeah, for exactly. It's in the fucking timeline. It's fucking rooted. It's forever there. We did our fucking job. Let's go.
Yeah, we did it.
Epic.